All right, let's get into it. What if a battle-tested linguist quietly redefined the role of women on the front lines of intelligence and paid the ultimate price doing it? I'm Emma, and today I'm in a reflective mood. Yes, me. The girl who usually drags red carpet looks is here to talk about a woman whose story deserves every headline and then some. So, let's talk about Shannon Kent. She was a United States Navy cryptologic technician. Think elite codebreaker meets cultural translator meets special operations whisperer. She worked inside the world of signals intelligence, the spooky stuff where you turn intercepted chatter into real-time decisions. And she did it alongside the most secretive special ops teams out there. Her service culminated in Syria, where she was killed in 2019 during a suicide bombing in Manbij. At the time, she was the first female U.S. service member killed in combat in Syria. Big yikes for how little most people know her name. Let me set the scene. A couple years back, I'm at this outdoor concert. Indie band, fairy lights, the whole Pinterest picnic vibe. I bumped into this woman rocking a denim jacket covered in pins and a bracelet that says strength. We started chatting because, obviously, I'm nosy. She tells me she's a veteran, 2 kids, deployed twice. She laughs about how her youngest thinks night vision goggles are robot sunglasses. Then she tells me about missing first steps, the fear of her phone ringing at 3 a.m., and how the only way she kept going was by telling herself that service is love in a different uniform. I was like, honey, that's a quote. And then she says, I know someone who was a total rock star linguist. She taught me that resilience isn't loud, it's just relentless. Later I learned she meant people like Shannon. That conversation lives rent-free in my head, and it reminded me that behind these headlines are humans juggling impossible choices, trying to be everything to everyone, while carrying the weight of national security on their backs. Okay, let's jump to the basics, Eli 5 style. A cryptologic technician is like a detective, but instead of footprints and lipstick on a glass, you're hunting patterns in radio waves, phone calls, encrypted messages. You piece together a puzzle made of noise, and when it clicks, special operations teams move. Shannon was that person who could hear the chaos and find the signal, literally. Now the timeline. She grew up in New York, born in Oswego, raised in Pine Plains, honor student, athlete, very that. She enlisted in the Navy in the early 2000s, powered through boot camp, and within a few years, she faced a major plot twist, thyroid cancer. She beat it. Then she volunteered deployed to Iraq around 2007, supporting Navy SEALs. By 2008, she was training for a permanent SEAL support role and reporting to a cryptologic warfare unit at Fort Meade, the beating heart of U.S. signals intelligence. In 2012, Afghanistan. Along the way, she served as a non-commissioned officer in charge at the NSA's Operations Directorate for years. That's a big flex for someone at her rank. It means she was trusted at the center of how America listens, analyzes, and reacts. And one more thing, she was fluent in Spanish, French, Portuguese, and Arabic. 4 languages. That is not mid, that is elite. In the intel world, language isn't just vocab, it's context, culture, nuance. If you can switch between dialects and decode slang on the fly, you spot red flags others miss. People called her a rock star for a reason. Important people time. Her dad, Colonel Stephen Smith, was the number 3 in the New York State Police, a serious law enforcement leader. You can feel that service DNA, discipline at breakfast, community service for dessert. Her mom was an elementary school teacher, the kind of quiet hero who builds futures one kid at a time. Put those 2 together, and you basically get a human Swiss Army knife who believes in duty and shows up for people. That's Shannon. And yes, she lived in that razor-edge space between family and frontline service. She had 2 young sons when she deployed to Syria in late 2018. Imagine boarding that plane. You've navigated cancer, you've supported SEALs in 2 wars, you're beyond qualified, and you're still fighting admin battles. Which brings me to the part that makes my blood boil. In 2018, she was initially cleared to pursue a Navy doctoral psychology program at the Uniformed Services University, essentially a pipeline to commission as an officer, and then she was reversed, medically unfit to commission because of that old cancer, even after successful treatment. She applied for a waiver, pushed, advocated, still no. Then she deployed. Tell me why bureaucracy always shows up late and loud. In Syria, she operated in what people called a stable buffer zone between Kurdish forces and Turkey. Spoiler, stability is a vibe, not a guarantee. In January 2019, she stopped at a restaurant in Manbij during a mission meeting when a suicide bomber detonated a vest outside. 19 people died. 4 were Americans, Shannon Scott A. Wirtz, a former Navy SEAL working as a Defense Intelligence Agency specialist. Army Chief Warrant Officer Jonathan Roth Farmer, a Green Beret. and Ghadir Taher, a translator working for a Defense Department contractor. The Islamic State claimed responsibility. 3 other Americans were wounded. It was brutal, it was public, and it shattered that illusion of calm in the so-called safe zone. Afterward, the nation paused. Then President Donald Trump honored the fallen at Dover Air Force Base when their remains returned. In Congress, Representative Antonio Delgado, a New York lawmaker, introduced a resolution honoring Shannon. And within months, the Defense Language Institute, where the military trains its linguists, dedicated the Kent Navy Yard in her name. These are gestures that say, we see what you did, and it mattered.
Shannon was posthumously promoted to Senior Chief Petty Officer. She received the Bronze Star and Purple Heart, along with high-level service medals and a Combat Action Ribbon. Before that, her rank already had multiple commendation medals across services. Translation: ears and leaders repeatedly said, "This woman delivered when it counted."
Okay, pause, because this next part is everything. The big what if. What if her medical waiver had been granted and she had started that doctoral psychology track? Likely stateside, mentoring, researching, retooling mental health for operators. Would she have been in Mudbidge that day? We can't know. But here's my take. Policies that don't know how to hold both risk and redemption can cost us extraordinary people. If someone beats cancer, keeps acing the most demanding missions, and the system still says no because a checkbox screams caution, that's not safety. I get it, the military is all about standards, but it's also about talent. Shannon's multilingual brain and SIGINT chops were rare. She bridged the spooky intel world and the dusty door-kicking world. If commissioning had happened, she might have been shaping policy, training the next wave, building psychological resiliency for special operators. And big picture, changing how we evaluate medical histories could keep more battle-tested experts on the team in the right roles without pretending risk disappears. Just saying. And on top of the policy questions, can we talk culture? Where is the miniseries, the feature film? We greenlight every messy tech founder biopic, but a multilingual Intel NCO who supported SEAL teams across 2 wars, led at NSA, fought cancer, got blocked by red tape, then died serving in Syria, that's not on screen. A Shannon Needers. Kent Project would do numbers and do good, not as propaganda, as truth about competence, courage, and the cost. Cast someone with steel in her eyes and kindness in her voice. Show her mom's side, her teammate side, her ruthless puzzle solver side. That story would inspire the next class of women stepping into rooms people used to say were no-go for them. Yes, queen, kick that door.
Oh, and quick note on relationships. Shannon's husband, Joe Kent, is a former Army Green Beret. That's a family that knew the stakes. When we talk service, we're also talking spouses, parents, kids. Her 2 boys were toddlers when she was killed. That's not a statistic. That's bedtime stories that changed forever. Sit with that for a sec.
Next time, we're diving into the evolving roles of women in combat and intel, who's breaking barriers now and who still gets gatekept by rules that feel honestly ancient. Receipts will be brought.
Okay, we covered a lot. Shannon Meters. Ken was the real deal linguist, leader, warrior, mom. So that's the tea, folks. Stay strong and carry on.